Hello, everybody. This is Emily with Wellness for Generations. If you are seeing this, you are either in our wellness community, and if you're not in our wellness community, make sure to join our wellness community, or you're watching on the main Facebook page or on YouTube. So welcome, and we do these little get-to-know-you interviews with our directory members. We aim for once a week, and this week we are chatting with Kelsey Hoople. She is a personal trainer, and she's specialized in prenatal and postnatal support, among so many other things. Her own journey has guided her to helping people bridge the gap to creating a healthier lifestyle. And I'm just going to throw this out there. I might have to pop off really quick to go get tissues because my allergies are like so bad right now. But welcome, Kelsey. I would love if you just kind of give a little like, hello, this is who I am real quick for our audience.
As Emily said, I am a personal trainer, and mostly I'm a healthy lifestyle advocate. So I have really transitioned myself from what I used to be and who I was to who I am now. And I really just want to help people find that easier than I had to experience.
Yes.
It took a lot of trial and error, and it was a lot of stress, and I really had to hate myself into a version that I liked. And I don't think that that is something anyone has to experience. So I developed through personal training and took some, I enjoy science and the fitness of movement, or the function of movement. So
yes.
I really base in a baseline fitness training that helps people discover what type of fitness they enjoy and what drives them, because everyone's built for something different. And so if you don't experience it, you have no clue. So I had to really search around and find something that I enjoy. So I offer that to my clients, is really just get them moving well in daily life and then see what sparks them. There's something that always lights up their face. So
yeah, that's awesome. And I love that you take that approach to kind of just show them what is out there and figure out what is best.
Yeah. Well, and I know that it's so difficult sometimes for people to even want to start and begin, and they know they should start, and it's that should that needs to turn to I am going to start, and then it's actually taking action towards that. And that's why it's so difficult, because sometimes people just find it hard to know where to start, so that kind of keeps them just stationary.
No, I agree. And that's kind of where I am right now with fitness. And eating is definitely shifting already. And I think that's because it's like summer, and now we can go, I went to the farmer's market today, and I've been trying to just make really quick stuff. And veggies really don't take a lot of time to prep and cook, and then add like whatever protein we want. But the exercise thing, like I really struggle with it, but I'm getting to that point where I'm like, okay, I'm tired of feeling like this. So like, I need to just commit to it every day, even if I start at 10 minutes a day. So it
is about just starting from where you're at to get to, it doesn't have to be 2 hours. It doesn't have to be intense exercise. Even just a 10-minute walk is something that everyone can strive for. I know some people that are limited mobility, and I know that it's hard to even get 2 or 3 minutes, but why not 2 minutes?
Yeah.
And then from there, it becomes 3 minutes, and then it might become 4 minutes or 5 minutes. And it's about learning correctly how to do that, because I had clients tell me, I didn't know there was a right way to climb the stairs. There are certain ways that we get into compensations, and certain ways that we get into just a regular routine that's actually hindering our ability versus actually helping us forward.
Right.
Yeah. So and what I tell people, I mean, nutrition, number one, of course. Like, if you're not feeding your body, you can do as much exercise as you want, and it won't help. And I'm still learning all the ins and outs of nutrition. There's so much, and there's so many things, but it's all about not taking away, but substituting in. And little bits. Like, it's about having one donut versus 12, or like one ice cream cone versus a liter of ice cream every day. Like, it's the amount that we're looking at.
Right.
And then from there, it's just the exercise aspect. You say you're finding the energy to get into it, but exercise creates the ATP and the energy that we need.
Yeah.
And so if you think of the body as a motor, and if we're not igniting and starting that motor, we're feeding it, we're putting the fuel in.
Yeah.
But if you don't turn the key and you don't press the gas, where does it go?
It just sits there. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've dealt with anxiety for a long time. And I imagine the same car. And instead of having it in drive like you should, you have it in neutral. And you're just like revving on that gas, trying to go somewhere, and you're going nowhere because it's just like it's in you.
Right.
And so I've really learned to counter that with exercise. I allow it to go somewhere. I give my body a place to go.
Right. Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah.
I really like that analogy. I don't know that I've ever heard it quite like that. So that's really cool. It makes a ton of sense too. That's really awesome. So one of the things I like to ask everyone is a little bit about your childhood. Like, did you grow up learning about health and fitness, or was it just kind of standard, whatever? And it doesn't have to just be related to food and eating. It could be, anything health related.
So as a child, I was a big kid. I was beaten up and segregated almost every day for being the way that I looked and for being the way that I was. So I was called anything from blob all the way up to when I got to junior high, I started fighting back because people were beating me up all the time. So I started getting hostile and fighting back. And then my nickname kind of turned to Tank, and everyone was afraid of me. So I was never really, I was that person that everyone knew, but I had a lot of groups, and I was a social butterfly, and I knew a lot of people. And I still tried to remain caring and giving throughout that. But I got made fun of by my gym teachers for being a slow runner. I remember being really good at shot put. So shot put is like this big steel ball that you would pluck and throw in track and field. I remember being really good at that, but the gym teacher thought that I should learn how to run because I sucked at running. So instead they put me on the 400-meter dash, which was I wasn't a long distance runner. I was a short, strong person. And I remember some of the people in school would be like, you should join the basketball team. You're really good. But the same coach was my teacher in gym. And so I hated fitness. I hated exercise. And I was that large bag of chips and full sour cream container. I was the sour cream on toast as a snack. Extra value meals, extra cheeseburger on the side. I was the extra large pop, and I was a binge drinker into my 20s for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I grew up, and I mean, my mom was a single parent. She was working a lot. And I know that she gave and did what she could and what she knew.
Yeah.
And now, I learned some healthy habits along the way, but I never really understood until later on in life when I started to drop the weight.
Right.
So, yeah.
So because you have a whole story. Do you want to dive, what kind of shifted you and started changing your mindset around, fitness and movement and getting healthy and stuff? Because, I mean, the picture on the website, the picture I had for this is your weight. It's you larger and you very skinny. And I'd love to know, what that transformation kind of was like for you.
I really carry that around because I don't think that people can really understand transition like that unless it's beside each other. Yeah. And as much as I don't like to live in the past, the past me was who I was. And in order for someone who is struggling to get into fitness to understand that it's possible, I feel like it needs to be shown.
Yeah.
And so I lost 100 pounds in 2014 when I knew that fitness, I was always afraid of the gym. I was always the person that if someone was laughing, it was definitely about me.
Mhm.
Like it was definitely my face or my, like,
Yeah.
just it took me a long time to get over the fact that if someone laughed, it wasn't about me.
Mhm.
And so I started getting into fitness through a friend who taught me some of the ins and outs of the gym. But we were going 7 days a week, 2 hours every day. And we were going hard. I lost 100 pounds in 8 months.
Nice.
At the end of that 8 months, yeah, it was, I was like I was so happy. I was doing like this high protein, we were doing high protein and lean fats and like we were doing well and I was gaining a lot of muscle. I looked really well. And then I met my ex and I remember us arguing over a 7-minute workout once. And from there, I never wanted to cause an argument again with that. And so I kind of just slowly went to 6 days a week, 5 days a week, 4 days a week. And over the process of about a year and a half, I gained back everything plus. And so I was 340 pounds, and I was in a super stressful relationship. And we were just mutually incompatible at that point in our lives. And I don't at all throw animosity or dirt. I know that there are always two people and two markers and two plays, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I tanked myself. I knew it. Every single time I looked in that mirror, I knew I was stressed out. I knew I need to make changes. And I asked myself, how far is this going to get before you change something? Because that's what I talk about all the time is wake up calls.
Yeah.
How far do you need? Because if you don't make time for your wellness, your illness will make time.
Yeah.
So you have to, like, I was looking in the mirror and I saw this coming on, 340 pounds. I was throwing up every day. I was in the hospitals 8 times with dehydration and overexertion. And I was nothing. I barely had the energy to get up out of bed. I barely had the energy to do my makeup, do my hair. Like, no, I lived in almost the same clothes. I was tanking every single responsibility I had. Like, and I look back and I go, for one, I was self-jeopardizing. I was throwing myself under the bus, and perhaps even a way I was trying to make him not like me so that I could be done.
Yeah.
And I knew at that point I had to make a change. I was drinking a lot. I was binge drinking. I was choosing alcohol as a therapist.
Yeah.
Like I was singing that song and I'm like, this, I have 2 choices. This tanks me even further. Like I yelled and screamed and cussed and I shed everything and everyone, and I was not a good person. And I knew I had to make a change. So I kind of looked in the mirror one day and I said, how are we going to do this? How are we going to get back? And I began with taking a burlesque class. And it just kind of helped me feel beautiful. And it was a class that was inclusive with all women, and it was in a private or dance studio, so it wasn't like a full gym where you go in and there's like right. So I had to, and I started going with a friend who helped me get accountable with that. And then I just saw, the more you stick to it, the more you see the progress. And I knew that I had to do it well this time. I couldn't do that 7 days a week, 2 hours a day. That's not possible. It's not possible to maintain. And so as soon as, it might be for some people who have the availability, that don't have families and don't have other stressors and I'm not saying it's not possible, but And I mean, if you prioritize, hey, I'm not
Right.
saying anything against people who prioritize 2 hours a day at the gym.
Right.
I
Right.
I prioritize 2 hours of activity,
Mhm.
but that's not for everyone at
Right.
all.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. I definitely appreciate it. Um, I'm trying to think if I think I'm just gonna move on because we'll probably end up
Yeah.
talking forever if we keep going. Well, that's really awesome, and I love that, and I love that you then utilized that to kind of start your own business. So that's kind of the next phase that I kind of move into is, and you can start wherever, but what your business is, your mission and purpose, like just share with us, kind of pitch yourself and all of that.
So the physical, after my whole physical journey and going into exercise, I went through a whole year of loss. I lost my dad. I had some major sicknesses in the family. I ended up losing my grandpa that year. The next year, I lost my cat of 14 years, and then I lost my uncle, who was very, very close to me.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that loss, fitness is what helped me keep forward as much as I could. I mean, I didn't quit. I quit drinking in 2018. And so I'm about 3 years sober, over 3 years sober. And I have really just known what fitness has done in my life. I knew at that point that I wanted to do something different. I needed to do something more applicable in the health industry. And I'm squeamish when it comes to like taking blood and things like that. So I could never, I couldn't be a nurse. I couldn't be like a doctor or a surgeon or like, I'm squeamish when it comes to that stuff. I'm just like, and you can't have a doctor that has like,
a weird face on
this sort of look on them,
yeah.
right? So I'm like, okay, well, what can I do? Okay, applicable knowledge. And so that's how I found personal training and went through personal training. And as soon as I did that, I'm like, okay, this is home to me. This is where I feel it keeps me accountable, for one. Like it keeps me on my journey and focused. And then it keeps me learning, but it also, I'm hoping it helps people find what fitness can do in their life. Because there's so many changes that it prioritizing it helps you show up 100% in everything else.
Right.
And so that's why I named my company Believe Again Fitness, was because I had to believe again in me in order to allow it to work the way that it works in your life. And so I believed again, and I learned from a foundational fitness and set up a really good structure to be able to allow that mindset, for one, to focus continually on self-development, self-creation, self-belief. And that helped me show up 100% in other things that I was applying myself to. It also allowed me the confidence to say no to other things that didn't match. So it's really a learning yourself process than it is just, okay, let's do some push-ups.
Right. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that. And I was going through a little bit of like our initial interview and stuff with like getting you on the directory and everything, and just rereading some of your responses and stuff. And I liked what you had said about like kind of your ideal audience and stuff about like, I'll just let you share that, like who your ideal person that you would love to work with is, and or who you'd like to work with and stuff.
Hopefully, it always changes, but my ideal audience are people that have perceived limitations and who really are struggling with the starting process. I talk foundational fitness, and they might struggle with taking, those 5-minute walks. They might struggle with believing that they are capable of something. And so my ideal clients are just ones that want to find a drive for
Yeah.
themselves, like
Yeah.
to get back into or get into something that helps them be more active.
Yeah. I love that. And I think I think it's important to have someone that is there to help you just in those starting times, because that is hard for a lot of people, and a lot of people that, do personal fitness training and stuff. It's a lot. It's more on the advanced side kind of thing. So it's nice having like that functional movement and like all of that type of training. If someone were to start out with you, kind of what is a little bit of your process?
Well, my process online is different than my process in person. My process in person is vital stats. We talk about posture. We look at your health history. We talk about, what kind of fitness you're interested in. We talk about your biometrics. I have a scale that measures 11 body metrics. So we talk about kind of where we're sitting at with body water and protein, and we kind of hone in on those numbers so that we know what we're focusing on. I can guarantee you right now that if there's any changes that need to be made, it's more water and more protein. So that's kind of a baseline. But we talk about posture, we talk about measurements. A lot of people that have sat in the chair wanted to lose weight. And from even just the first month of working with me, realizes it's not about weight. It's about movement. And I ask them how they're feeling and the energy. And some people have had hip issues, and some have had back issues. And like, I'm a personal trainer, so don't treat pain, but chronic pain is different. People who experience regularity where the doctor says, well, you just need to get active and there's not really much we can do for you, here's some pills. Like there's different things, avenues that you can go to, and we work on strengthening those different compensations. And so in my beginning structures, we do a lot of fitness movements, functional movements, twists, push pulls. You're gonna do squats. I have a precursor to squats, so we don't start straight out into the heaviness of squats, because they can be taxing. And even being from a bigger past, I understand the range of motion limitation. So getting my leg in the proper position to do squat wasn't necessarily the easiest thing. Like when I first started into fitness, I couldn't lift my foot to put on my sock. So like I understand that. And so a lot of fitness trainers and fitness people who have been athletes their whole life don't understand that limitation of movement, where you don't have the energy, or you were too big to be able to do that. And so you're kind of looking at a movement going, I don't think I can. So then online, it's more of coaching and empowerment into understanding what to do next. And so like I've got a nutrition program that's actually running starting June 20th. It's a year program, but it works on mindset and it works on nutrition. It doesn't have calorie counting. It doesn't have macro counting. In some of my other, like I've taken a lean body coach. I'm a lean body coach. So I do understand the science behind macros, and I do understand the science behind, but that advanced terminology and that advanced type of stuff is for people who aren't just starting in. So this nutrition coach, this nutrition program teaches about mindset, and it teaches about where to start and the healthy mind habits that help us with nutrition. It's about portion control and understanding what to have more of and what to have less of, and substituting, and really allows me to coach through to help develop these healthy lifestyle over a span of time. So it is about a transition. And so then there's like I do form training. So like videos that I can look at, and I can see inconsistencies and say, okay, you know what? You're compensating quite a bit on your right side. So maybe on your next set of side leg raises, you're doing 2-to-1 on your left side versus your right side. right? So it's about you don't know where you're at unless you know where you're at.
Right, right,
So to me, you can do 1,000 squats, but if you
right,
don't do one correctly,
right.
you're just doing 1,000 squats for the heck of it.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, to me, it's just that's kind of how I help online. There's a lot of liability with me doing online training with people.
Right.
Like I had a client come in to me who had blood pressure that was in a hypertensive emergency and had
Yeah.
no clue.
Yeah.
But that's why I do blood pressure in my intake, is
Right.
because I wouldn't know that. If I put her through any sort of strenuous activity that day, it could have been detrimental
Right.
to her,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why liability wise for online training, I don't necessarily do it unless someone is 100% honest with me
Yeah.
and 100% going to their doctor and really know where they are physically,
Right.
blood pressure and metrics
Right.
like that. So
Yeah. That's really smart. And that's something I feel like you're the first person that reviews all of that as far as like in the fitness thing. That's like a whole like part of the program. So I love that that you do that. I love metrics and figuring stuff out. Actually, my husband and I just started. Well, I'm the only one that started the supplement, but I did a heavy metal hair analysis test and we did blood work together. We have to wait till his hair grows again to get the hair analysis test for him. But I love that kind of stuff and being able to see like where we can improve and all of that. So I'm excited about that. So I love metrics. So I love that you include that. Is there anything new that you're working on or anything in your business that you're particularly excited about right now?
It would be that nutrition program. Yeah, it would be the nutrition program. I learn all the time. And all my audiobooks are based around, you want to say your self-help, but I really think that it's a mind frame. And the more that I can learn, the more that it naturally transitions myself into a better way of being for myself. Like I've dealt with mental health issues, anxiety, depression, and like fear. Fear is one of my so I also understand that a lot of those things can be related to hormonal differences. And especially as a woman going into our PMS type area, how many days before your period does it affect you hormonally?
Right.
And so like I notice my anxiety pick up. I also notice my attitude towards different things that I've enjoyed changes coming up too. And so there's hormonal changes, there's differences in our environment. So chemicals that we're intaking as well as the stress that we're under. So under stress, we're releasing a whole bunch of cortisol. Like there's so many different, you're looking at dopamine and serotonin, like all of these different factors actually matter in the overall functioning of our mind and our body. And I've been now looking into more of gut health and gut healthy different things. So I've been looking into fermented foods and the way that they're processed, and a lot of things that I talk about are ingredients, watching the ingredients that we are putting in. Like for the longest time, I had anxiety, so I smoked for 15 years as well. And I quit smoking and I couldn't figure out, because I'd cut out pop and I cut out a whole lot of things, but I was having such bad anxiety. I couldn't figure it out. But I had replaced smoking with gum. And I was chewing Excel gum for the longest time and different brands. And I started looking at the ingredients, and there's aspartame. There's aspartame in the gum, and I realized that I'm very, very sensitive to different chemicals. I'm also very sensitive to ingredients and food. And so aspartame is one of the main causes of my anxiety. Just like some dairy products and some things like that are a main factor in my inflammatory. So my bones hurt more, my joints hurt more. I even get nightmares from ice cream. Like,
okay.
yeah. I think think it might be, and I'm not a doctor or full scientist, but I think it might be because of inflammatory response in my body.
Yeah, I've I've heard of people that have nightmares and stuff if they have dairy before bed or like something like that. So I definitely, that's crazy.
Yeah. So the nutrition program I'm really excited about because it just helps put the mind frame and daily reminders and continuous coaching, and that I'm able to offer not only in person but online, and I'm able to open my community up a little bit more to that. So
I love that. That's awesome. Cool.
yeah.
I'm excited about that. Let's see what, so we'll start wrapping up. I have two final questions that I typically ask everybody. And the first one is, what do you feel that, what is one key element for someone to start moving the needle in their house that they could, just do something today to start shifting to living a healthier lifestyle?
Anything. I know it sounds strange, but anything you can do out of your regular routine is going to challenge your body in a different way. So if that means going for a walk after dinner, and it's really good to actually get some movement. If you're feeding your body, you're putting fuel into your body. And so it's always good to get some movement afterwards. I don't like, obviously, the whole swimming adage of waiting 30 minutes after. But whenever you feel ready, get the body moving a little bit. And I always challenge people to if you're doing laundry, perhaps you put some into the washer, do a squat. Put some more into the washer, do a squat. If you're in the kitchen doing cooking, perhaps you do a couple push-ups off the counter and then go back to cutting. Like it's about adding little tiny bits in your everyday to add up to more. If you have a way that you can take stairs instead of an elevator, or if you have there's so many little tiny things. And that's what I say is, like, some people are like, I don't have an hour, I don't have a half an hour to give. Like, so give 5. And if you did 5 minutes 3 times a day, you just did 15 minutes. So to me, it's about those small, tiny, little changes that you can make that challenge the body and challenge the mind into a different way. And already you're onto that healthier lifestyle.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the things for myself right now is, so I have diastasis recti, and I finished therapy, but I still have like a 1.5 to 2 split. Time-wise, I just couldn't continue going. But I don't do my exercises at home. And this week, I've definitely noticed like a little shift again. So I'm pretty sure it is like opening a little bit. And so I really need to stop putting it off. And so I started looking on YouTube for some stuff. And there's so many like 10-minute. And it's just, and the thing with that is it's a lot of just breathing and light movements. So it's not like it's super strenuous. So that's one thing that I'm like, last night I started one of them and did it a little bit until I was just like, okay, I just need to go to bed. But I need to get that in today. And we love going for walks in the evening after we are done eating. Like that's something we've kind of fallen out of it because of life. But whenever we can, like, we feel so good. My husband and I have great conversations. The kids, the baby was in the stroller. Now he's probably going to start walking more. But they get like some of that energy out before bedtime and everything. And
and then you think of the lasting lifestyle for the kids as well. And because you're starting early with that. And I find that figuring out why we don't do it is one of the biggest things that I've really tried to learn, is because we know that something's going to help, but yet we don't do it. And then also say at the end that, oh, I wish this would change. Well, why don't we change it? Why don't we do, if I know, if I'm sitting on the couch and I say, you know what would really feel, 20 minutes of yoga. Why don't I do that? And so I like with diastasis recti, like the lining of that, and I mean, just to understand a little bit about the abdomen, is you've got your lower TVA, which is actually the inner corset of the body. So tightening that below. So a lot of people concentrate on abs. And abs isn't necessarily, you're talking those 6-pack over top. Those are your like showy abs. Right?
Yeah.
They're not your functional abs. They
Right.
help. They help.
Yeah.
But in order to seal that gap, in order to bring that gap together, you actually need to concentrate on TVA and pelvic floor exercises
Right.
in order to tighten and cinch it in before doing all of those planks and push-ups and things like that.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at, even laying on your back with your knees up into tabletop, if you know what that, and even just touching your heels down to the ground and bringing them back up. Doing a round of 10 of that every day, you're going to be so far improved in cinching that together. And I mean, you're looking at 10. Like I'm not here saying that people need to do 2 hours and 3 hours of fitness. Like small bits add up. They completely add up. And then it's just doing it. Just doing it. Just do it.
Just do it. I actually last night, I'm very lazy by nature. Like I just want to sit around and do nothing, be on my phone, work on my business, but all of that is sitting. And yesterday my husband was outside with the kids and I couldn't be outside anymore. My allergies were just a mess. So it's like, I need to go inside, and I wanted to just sit down and work on the to-dos for my business because I need to do them. But the dishes were stacked, and I was like, I really should do dishes, and I really should put the laundry away. And that's like, I've like just continually repeated, you just need to do it. Just do it. Just do it. Because my husband doesn't understand why it's hard for me to do stuff. I'm like, because I don't want to, so I don't. And he's like, well, if it needs done, just do it. And I'm like, well, that's not how my brain functions. So but I did. I had to do that. And that's kind of where I was last night too with the whole exercise thing. Like I'm like looking at all these videos, and I'm like, just get on the floor and do some of them. Like, just do it. So I, and I, did feel a little bit better after and stuff. But
that's the reflection aspect. That's the one thing that I suggest is that every single time that you choose to do it, ask yourself how you feel after. Because it's recognizing that I feel better. Getting those dishes done means that it's not sitting at the back of your mind and it's not sitting on your shoulder. That's how we get weight, and that's how we get, and I'm not talking weight as in fat. I'm talking weight as in stress and overwhelm. Is because those small little things, the shoulds, need to turn at some point into they're done. And so how do you do that? By just doing a small thing at a time. And sometimes I find we get addicted to the shoulds. We get addicted to, I should do this. So you're almost giving yourself that stress injection type thing. So we kind of get into this pattern of wanting that cortisol, wanting that stressful nature that we're used to. But once we just understand and feel better and notice afterwards, like after you finish the dishes, after you put away a bit of laundry, after you did one of those 10 minutes, because you sit there and watch like, I don't know, 3 of them you've already taken.
Right? I was just like, I just literally sat here for 10 minutes watching these. Just like I was watching different clips, and I was like, I think I really like this one, but I'll like look through other ones, and I'm like, why don't I just do the one that I think I'm gonna like and see if I like it? So,
Oh, the power of choice. The power and confusion of choice. You put 2 things in front of someone and you say pick one, they'll go, that one. You put 12 things in front of someone and say pick one, they go, oh no. Oh no.
That's right.
So YouTube is both our best friend and our enemy. So it is about being, you know what, this one's good. Today is good. Let's do this.
That's what I did. And I did that for a little bit. I think I ended up watching a little bit of another one, and I'm just like, I'm adding these to my favorites, and I'll just like kind of swap them out so I don't get tired of them. So but I love that. That was really great. And then my other question is which I feel like you're going to answer the same way, but what is one change you want to see be passed down to those future generations?
an intention and priority on authentic self-care. Authentic, because the second we can actually help ourselves not progress into autoimmune deficiencies and uh, just so many mental health things, we have the ability to teach it early. Had I cared when I was young, had I known the issues that it causes as I get older, had I understood the aspect of, if you don't do this, you could die. Like, this
Right.
is health. This
Yeah.
is what's important. And so I would like to see healthy lifestyles being passed down, not this sedentary, in front of a screen type. I see a need for social media. I love the connection. I use social media with intention.
Yeah.
And so there's a connection. I've kept connected to a lot of friends based on it, and I know what's going on. I love it.
Yeah.
But I also do outdoor fitness, and I also take myself away from that. But it's learning how to counter your own addictive natures. It's learning about ourselves and passing that down to the generation next, to understand that you need to know, how can you cheer yourself up when you're feeling down? How can you properly communicate how you're feeling? Because that's one thing I struggle with, is emotional intelligence. I didn't know anger, sadness. There we go.
Right. Yeah.
But there's so much in between. I'm frustrated, or I'm embarrassed, or I'm confused, or I feel under pressure, or I'm overwhelmed. And so it's the self-awareness, as well as the empathy, to understand that someone else might be under that sort of stress and might not understand that.
Yeah.
And so that compassion can be taught. There's so many skills that people are learning late in life, that I feel like if we learned earlier, that we'd be able to adapt a lot better to change, adapt a lot better to interaction, and like problem solving and communication and conflict resolution. Like, all of those can be taught early, so that it doesn't force us into addiction and patterns of self-jeopardization and like being addicted to the negative, rather than understanding that we are allowed to feel good. We are allowed and worthy enough to feel well. We can.
Yeah.
And it is possible. And anyone, I'm saying anyone, doesn't matter how far along. Sometimes, okay, you've got a really, 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 really steep mountain. You've got a really big mountain. But every small step climbs that.
Yeah.
And soon enough, you'll be looking out over a view that you've never seen before. And I think that the people who are parents, because I'm not a parent, I've loved many, many kids, but I think the people who are parents have a job to teach the kids proper lifestyle and healthy living techniques, tools, give them resources to understand and help themselves as they grow older.
I agree. And there are so many resources out there to help in the teaching too. Like, I love, there's that Generation Mindful or Mindful Generation or something, where there's like, you can create like a little corner and it has all of the different emotions, and like that's their like take a minute corner. You know, if they're overwhelmed, they can just go there and look at the different things, or like there's so many resources. So and I'm like preaching to myself right now. Like, there's no excuse, you know, like there's no excuse to not be teaching
and that's
it.
what I mean about the internet. You have the accessibility to find anything that you need. And you have the ability to learn. We are very, very smart, intelligent creatures. And we've adapted through time to become this intelligent. And I really don't feel like it has to stop here and regress. Like, I feel like we still have the ability to increase that knowledge and increase that variance of language and culture and communication. And the internet gives us access to connection and information.
Yeah.
We have the ability to learn.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's just making that a priority, because I know that's the difficult part, is going, yeah, but I could sit here and watch this episode. Like,
Yep.
I know what it's like. And there's a time and place to relax and sit down and turn off the brain and just watch or do whatever you feel like it. There's a time and place for that. But it's about balance. And I think that it's about also understanding and just doing it.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. I've loved this conversation. I'm like, this is full of so many good nuggets. Where would you like people to find you?
The best place is my website, dayonealways.ca. So dayonealways.ca, it's got all of my projects on there. I do a whole bunch of different things, from local business radio show where I really talk about the Alberta, because I'm in Canada. And so I really talk about the Alberta economy and talk with business owners in here. And then, I mean, I've got my fitness programs, my fitness stuff on there, as well as my own journey through sobriety and weight loss, and some maybe kernels of knowledge in some of the things that I put out. So it's just best, dayonealways.ca is my website. Perfect.
I'll make sure to post that in the comments.
I mean, and Facebook and Instagram, I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. I don't mind.
Perfect. Awesome. Is there anything else that you want to share before we hop off?
I don't think so. I just want people to do well. You don't have to struggle. It doesn't have to be difficult. And yes, wellness is difficult, but it's different than living unconsciously. And there are so many things that we can prevent, so many struggles we can prevent for ourselves, that just paying attention and understanding that you're worth the effort, you're worth everything. So just by existence, we are amazing. And that's what I want people to know, is that you don't have to be anything more special than just being alive. So just take the time.
I love it. I've loved this whole conversation. We definitely went over. Normally these are about half an hour, and I'm like, but I can't stop because this is just so good. So I will have to. That's okay. I have no problem with it. I'm very excited. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. If anyone was able to watch us live, if you weren't able to watch us live but you're catching this on the replay, please #replay so that I can just kind of see who is watching stuff. If you have any questions or any comments throughout this, please feel free to post them, and I will make sure to get her contact information posted in the comments. If you have any questions, just let us know, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And thank you so much, Kelsey, for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Emily.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.